Breaking news, Anthony Davis is on the verge of returning to the Dallas Mavericks. But why? I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. So here's the news coming from the fantastic Mark Stein, who noted Mavericks PR put out initially. The Mavs have assigned Jaden Hardy and Anthony Davis to the Texans Legends of the NBA G League. And Stein noted that Anthony Davis has been progressing toward an in-season return, as noted here last week, and with the latest step being this assignment in the G League. Now, from there, AD, they still have a decision to make. In Dallas, AD himself is very eager, according to Stein, to return from his adductor strain before the end of the season. Whether he actually does return, though, remains to be determined amid concerns about exposing Davis to re-injury. So Anthony Davis has not played since early February for the Dallas Mavericks, had a phenomenal debut until injury struck late in the game. He crumpled to the floor with the adductor strain. Boy, he looked for a little bit there. Nico Harrison was breathing a sigh of relief because everything that the Mavs were hoping to see, a dominant defense, the interior presence of AD and Daniel Gafford and these other bigs that they've got, were really making an impact. And then suddenly AD hits the floor. A few weeks later, Kyrie Irving tears his ACL. He's out for the season. And it looks like year one of this Dallas Mavericks title window slammed shut due to injuries. Next year's may be as well, given Kyrie's ACL injury. So all of this, though, begs the question, if this year is done for Dallas, why bring him back at all? And by the way, bringing him back could make a big change in the standings for both the Mavs as well as a few other teams that are looking right now to try to get playoff positioning. So this is a big decision here for Dallas, not just for Dallas, but also for the entire playoff picture in the Western Conference. It could certainly shift things around a bit. Do they bring back Anthony Davis or not? So I'm going to take a look at what this means for the postseason in just a moment. But first, quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. They do a phenomenal job with daily fantasy sports. You can use our promo code Bulletin, get a guaranteed $50 on your first $5 played when you go check out Prize Picks. I'm going to make a few picks from tonight's games. Zion Williamson on the glass. Detroit's a pretty good rebounding team. That one's a little demon guy here, which means it's a little more difficult, but that means a better payout. And Zion has been fantastic lately. So I'll go ahead and take a chance here on Zion. Let's see what else we've got here. Ooh, the points aren't bad either on Zion there. Trey Murphy the third. Do I want to go with another Pelican? Probably not. Anthony Edwards, I think he'll have it going. He's the Wolves are in position where they really need to win games. So I think Anthony Edwards will have it going. 27.5 points. I like that. And I may just stop there. I think I might. So on that one, a $10 play, win $45. Again, we took the more difficult one. Zion Williamson, 7.5 rebounds, and then Anthony Edwards over 27.5 points. Go check out Prize Picks. Use the promo code Bulletin. Use the link in the description down below. We always appreciate it when you guys help support the companies that help support us, help us keep the lights on, keep this channel growing. So click that link in the description down below. All right, so here's the playoff picture right now in the West. And this is why this issue with AD, him potentially coming back, matters not just for the Mavs. It could change the playoff picture in the West. We heard the Phoenix Suns last night in their loss to the Lakers talking about how they need to start winning games and how they want to be in the play-in, how they want to give themselves a chance to go do something, to battle through the play-in and then go. They lost to the Lakers, but you look at the Dallas Mavericks, they've lost the last 3 in a row, and they look like they're essentially dead in the water. There's not that many games left in the season. Well, when we look at it, there's just not that much time left in the season here. I mean, the Mavs themselves have, 13 games left or so that they've got. So there's not a lot of time to make up ground. But if Dallas is truly stagnant, and if we look at their roster right now, we were talking about this just the other day, that they were running out of players. They literally were not going to have enough players to be in compliance with NBA rules, and that's that minimum of 8 players, because their two-way guys are about to see their eligibility run out. So Dallas is really up against it. So maybe bringing Anthony Davis back, all it should be is you bring him back to put him in uniform and have somebody on the end of the bench and maybe not actually put him in a game. Maybe he's that 8th man that fills the NBA's requirement, but you don't actually play him. Of course, we do start running into the NBA's rules against resting stars with Anthony Davis if he is indeed healthy. So would the Mavs want to run afoul of that? That would get pretty tricky for them, where they may have to put AD on the floor for a little bit. But the Mavs currently in the 10 seed right now in the West. The Phoenix Suns right behind them, and they are a game and a half back of the Mavs. They are one game back in the loss column right now of Dallas. And again, Dallas with their current roster, with no Kyrie, no PJ Washington, right? I mean, all these guys are hurt. They've got so many injuries right now. It's fair to question whether or not the Mavs are going to win very many games from here on out. Plus, Phoenix, to complicate matters even further, actually has the most difficult remaining strength of schedule in the NBA. So will the Suns actually catch the Mavs? I mean, if the Suns' schedule were not this difficult, then you'd say, yeah, maybe they could do it. Here, let me even refresh here. It's still not good, even when we hit the refresh button here for Phoenix, and we updated to today. But maybe the Suns would catch them, especially if the Mavs are really dead in the water here. But you look, Dallas, their remaining strength of schedule, it's not that tough, right? They're 15th in the NBA in remaining strength of schedule compared to the most difficult schedule remaining in Phoenix. And it's fair to wonder whether or not the Suns will actually catch them, particularly if the Mavs bring back Anthony Davis. AD is good enough to help them win at least a game or two that maybe they don't otherwise. And then what does that mean? Then that means perhaps the Phoenix Suns don't even make the postseason at all. Now, it's been a disaster of a season in Phoenix. It's been an embarrassing season in Phoenix. And maybe we're just at a point where the Suns just want to go home, and making the play in and probably getting bounced out early, or best case scenario right now for the Suns would be you make the playoffs. Let's say you get into the 10 seed, you battle your way through the play-in, then you're the 8 seed, and then you just go home round 1 to OKC. They would get swept by the Thunder. They would get swept. They would go home immediately. So does Phoenix really want to battle for that, to get 4 playoff games effectively? That's what they would be winning if they were to sneak into the 10 seed. Maybe they do. Maybe pride just says, no, we're going to push through all the way to the finish line. If that means we are a first-round exit at the hands of the Thunder, so be it. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to fight for that. Maybe they do. I haven't seen that from them, but maybe they do. It's what they're talking about right now, about wanting to make the postseason. But if Anthony Davis is back, that could be enough to keep the Phoenix Suns at arm's length. Now, I don't expect that the Mavs would even survive the play-in at that point, even if they do hang on to the 10 seed in the West. Again, I don't think they would survive the play-in. I think they would wind up going home before we even got to the playoffs proper. But again, if you're Dallas, maybe bringing Anthony Davis back gets into a rhythm. You've got to have more healthy players just to be in compliance with NBA rules, and then you go from there. The downside to doing this, though, is number one, you risk injury, as Stein noted. That's the big thing, right? There's people in Dallas right now wondering, do we actually bring Anthony Davis back? And then we're worrying about another injury. Then you're setting back his recovery period in the offseason. Then you're setting back perhaps his training, his ramp up for next season. Like, pretty soon, this injury, if it reoccurs, you're bleeding into next season to a degree when we get to the ramp up over the summer and all that kind of stuff. So the Mavericks obviously want to be very, very careful here with Anthony Davis. He's the main piece they got back in their big trade, sending out Luka Doncic. That was so unpopular. You want this guy to be healthy, and out there proving you right and showing why you made the trade, but you got to be a little bit worried about rushing him back here. And on top of that, could you actually mess up your draft pick a little bit? You look here, and the Dallas Mavericks right now, they have the 13th worst record in the NBA. If you were to lose enough games, you could potentially swap spots with Phoenix, at least get 12, increase your odds of getting number 1 overall. Boy, how wouldn't that raise some eyebrows in Dallas? Wouldn't that turn some frowns upside down if the Mavs were suddenly to luck into Cooper Flag or something? But if you could drop at least a spot, at least get passed by Phoenix, that puts you up at least 1 draft pick, right? 1 slot in the draft takes you from 13 to 12 and gives you another 0.5% of moving into number 1 overall, gives you a couple percent more, 2.3% more odds of jumping into the top 4. So it's not a lot, but it's not nothing either. And if you're the Mavs and you know you're going home early anyway, wouldn't you rather have some kind of incentive, some kind of added percentage. If they wind up getting the number 1 pick because they got a little bit better chance of getting it in the 12 spot instead of the 13, well, I'm sure the Mavs wouldn't be too upset about that. So there is plenty of incentive for the Mavs to say, you know what, AD, the season is what it is. We're not going to bring you back. Bringing it back would just be to comply with NBA rules, number 1. Then number 2, give Anthony Davis some time out on the court to get back into a rhythm, get his legs under him again so that it's not like a big step into the deep end next year in training camp. You allow him to finish out the season on the floor, feeling what it's like to be in an NBA game again, and then you go from there. Remember, he was in and out with injuries for a while there. He had been out for a while, but when the Mavs traded for him, he returned from injury and then didn't even make it through a single game and got injured again. And now here we are. So maybe Anthony Davis just wants to get timing back and things of that nature before heading into the summer. But if I'm the Dallas Mavericks, I've got some incentive to let the Suns pass me in the standings, and bringing back AD might prevent that. And then I also have that extra odds that I might not want to give up in the lottery. I may want to let Phoenix fly past me again to increase those lottery odds. But everybody give me your thoughts. What should the Mavs do? Should they bring back Anthony Davis or just let him work out in the G League for a little bit, get his legs under him that way, and not actually play him in an NBA game? Everybody give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to go check out our latest video on the CBA and how it's changed the way trades are being made in the league. Go check that out right now.